Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of our Empire Fight Series podcast. We're just 2 weeks away from our big pro show, and of course, we've got the amateurs during the day. This is my co-promoter, Adam Bailey. Welcome to our podcast.
Happy to be here.
Had our media day today. It's been a bit of fun this morning, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This afternoon. Maybe.
Do your best work in front of the tripod, I hear.
No, not me. We've had a bunch of fighters in this morning getting interviewed. Some really good content today. So we've got a bit to discuss. We're going to go through the pro card, folks. June 14, so 2 weeks away from today at our very new venue, Webster Pavilion, at the Claremont Showgrounds. So really looking forward to getting into that and seeing how it turns out the night, Adam.
Yeah, mate, it'd be magical.
We've been and had a look, haven't we?
We have had a squeeze. No, mate, I think it's going to be it's a great venue, iconic venue out here in WA. So
certainly some history out there.
Yeah.
Very hard to find a venue at the minute in Perth, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a challenge, to be honest. We were at the convention centre last year in our November show, which was really good.
And they don't want us back.
They don't want us back. They put the price up by 30 grand so they can get stuffed. We've changed venues. See you later. Right, well, we're going to get into it. We've had it's been a tough couple of weeks, to be honest. We've had a few pullouts and mixing and matching and,
More pullouts in the rhythm method.
Yes. Look, we've kind of restacked the card a little bit and, what a main event we've come up with. So the main event was Ken Lockheed from the Pit. And, of course, he was fighting Jagger Khan from Strikeforce, and what an awesome main event that was to be and going to be. But unfortunately, Jagger got injured, and we wish Jagger all the best in his recovery.
I shot Mark Peace a message just to make sure he wasn't. Look, it's a flesh wound. I think he was. Correct me if I'm wrong, sparring with Chad Collins.
Yeah, so, Chad Collins.
Doesn't
help with sparring.
Good little ding dong on the weekend, and he's injured himself. But I don't think it's going to be a long termer, so that's good.
They're pretty keen for November.
Yeah.
I haven't had.
As long as there's no surgery, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I haven't had proper chats with Roy or Blair about it, but I'll hopefully chat to Roy after the show, and let's see if we can do that for November 1st, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the good news is, it always sucks when you lose your main event or lose any fighter. The good news is we were able to swoop pretty quickly, and I'd like to really thank Dominic and Superboy from 8 Blades Gym. They've stepped up on 2.5 weeks' notice, which is amazing. Yeah. And in comes Alexi Petroulius, Australian legend of Muay Thai. I mean, what can you say?
Fantastic. And good bloke, great gym, strong stable.
You've actually matched Alexi before on your Knack Muay series show.
Yeah, back in,
Duke.
I don't know what year that was, 2016 maybe?
I was going to say 8 years ago.
Claremont Showgrounds in the pavilion next door.
In the other venue, that's right. Yeah,
so that was a cracking match.
I ref that bout.
Super close.
It was, yes.
Yeah, Alexi thought he did enough to get over the line, but in my biased eyes, we won every round.
Of course you're biased.
No, it was a ripping match. So, and I think Alex Ilioski came over as well, so I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah,
but
you actually had Jordan versus those Thai brothers. Was it Aspirate and Lloyd Dean?
Yeah,
well, the other brother. They were amazing, those two Thais.
Yeah, there's about 900 Thais out of corporate box back in the day.
That's right.
And I think they were. I think they were fighting every weekend.
They were. Didn't both Perth boys win? I think Jordan won. And
2 wins and a loss.
Lloyd Dean, Duke. Okay, yep. So, look, Alexi's no stranger to Perth, to be honest. He's fought quite a few West Australians. He fought George Mann on Rebellion when George was just a skinny 18-year-old kid. I think that was George's first fight over East. Now, I refed him on Epic, I reckon, 9 or 10 years ago, and that was versus Lloyd the Nightmare Dean.
Yep.
That was a tough fight from both boys. Great performance from Alexi, great performance from Lloyd. And he's also fought Mitchell Seth before that, I reckon 12 or 13 years ago now. Mitch Seth, a prodigal son of Bill Seth, and that was on Nemesis. That was a cracking fight as well. So he's been to Perth a few times.
Yep.
Over East on Rebellion, he's fought George, he's fought Roy Wills. Well, let's go through it. He's fought Jack 300, a Perth-based Thai. So, Alexi's also the very first person to be inducted into the Rebellion Muay Thai Hall of Fame. So, we are talking about a legend here on Australian Muay Thai, folks. So let's just go through.
The original great. I reckon he's been around before the Volkanovski. Do you reckon
definitely has.
The Volk stole his?
I reckon he did. I wouldn't say that to Volk's face if I saw him, but the podcast, I'll agree with you. Yes,
absolutely.
So let's
apart from the original Alexander the Great, obviously.
That's true.
He came a few years before.
Yeah, he did.
Alexei.
A few 500 years.
Yeah.
So we go through some of these names. I just read them all out in one hit. Alexei's fought Roy Wills, Indigo Boyd, George Mann, Jack 300, Tum Winner Muay Thai, Ramesh Habib, Samuel Bart. Wasn't Samuel on a bit of a tear in his time here in Australia? I said Roy Wills, Pech Sitmonchai, Singdam, Sarpatek Fairtex, Willie Whipple from the
USA.
Yep. Sing Siri, Cruz Biggs, Sakman Cole, Richard Fanous, there's an old name, Pech Sitmonchai, Lloyd the Nightmare Dean, as we've said, Mitchell, Seth, and River Daz. I mean, there's some pretty big names there that Alexei's fought. So Alexei says no to no one. Is that right?
Well, that's right. He's got the bug by the sounds of it.
Loves Muay Thai.
He's coming to the end anytime soon.
Yeah. So look, Alexei's on 37 wins, 19 losses, and 2 draws. So let's talk about the bout versus Keane. Keane, fresh off his last Empire appearance versus Sam Gardner last November. And that was certainly voted as one of the top fights for Australian Fight of the Year. Both boys went down, had 8 counts. How do you see this fight versus Alexei, mate?
Well, I kind of you got me a little bit before with my prediction on this. Tailor two styles. It's not as well, because we used to say, or I used to say, the pit would just hard, they'd wear you down and all, and they still do to some, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Roy brings another element of,
his coaching style.
That IQ comes into it. So it's quite on the best of both worlds.
And Alexei's not too
Keane.
dissimilar to the pit fighters either, the way he comes forward.
Yeah. So I think, Muay Thai IQ wise, I kind of think I've got to lean a little bit towards Alexei for years in the game and depth of competition.
He can fight. Alexei comes forward, but he can fight on the back foot as well.
Yeah. The only query I've got with Alexei, and he'll probably kick me when I see him, is a 36, 37-year-old. Does he still have that? But your brain gets so much better.
Yeah,
you get so much smarter.
IQ-wise, Look, I actually don't know how old he is. He's still been fighting though. So it's not like he's coming off a bit of a break too, as far as I'm aware. I think he fought earlier this year. It's been pretty busy. Look, he's involved in Muay Thai everywhere. He's just joined Hammer on Warriors Way as a co-promoter.
Yeah, right.
Obviously, he is an experienced fighter and he's helping out with coaching, and he's an official as well in Victoria. That awesome,
he's not one of them, is he?
That awesome Victorian system that they've got over there. Us officials, mate, we stick together.
Official.
So he lives and breeds.
I knew there was something wrong with him.
He lives and breeds Muay Thai, doesn't he?
He does.
I think I'm going to park his age and say that doesn't have anything to do with this fight. The only question will be is taking the fight on short notice.
Yeah,
that's just whether he goes the 5 rounds, whether he comes out blazing, whether he gasses.
But he must
who knows?
Good nick, because you don't take a fight like that on 2 weeks' notice unless you.
Yeah, look, Dom's not silly,
well.
and Superboy. They know their fighter.
Yeah.
He's been at 8 Blade Warriors for 12 years, very, very long time. They know him inside out.
Yeah.
They're not going to take this bout on short notice if they don't think he's up for it. So my guess is he's going to come well prepared. He's probably been training hard anyhow. Good fighters do that. They're ready. It's just that little question in the back of your mind. Will he be prepared without the proper camp? Would he go the full 5 rounds? You're going Keane. I did say that the other day when you put me on the spot, and that's no way anything against Alexei. It's just I'm just putting it down to preparation.
Yeah.
That maybe Keane gets the nod in my opinion, your opinion as well.
Yeah, I think it's skill versus will. I think that's where I'd draw the line.
Skill versus will.
Alexei's got the skills. I think in comparison, because you get that over 60 fights.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it builds over 60 fights.
We know how Keane fights.
Yeah. He's got the will to do it. So it'd be interesting. But yeah,
it's a big fight, and look, we're very excited to have this as a main event. So a big thank you to the whole team there on Alexei's side. Big thank you to Alexei for taking this bout.
Absolutely,
it's going to be a cracking All Australian main event. Can't be any happy about that, can we?
No, fantastic.
Yep. Okay, no particular order, well, no order at all, sorry. We actually haven't done the fight card order yet, folks. We're still waiting on a few, well, hopefully 2 more matches that we'll have done in the next few days. So we're just going to throw this out there. We'll start with your girl, our girl from Empire, and your girl Pursuit. Maddie Black, who's been very busy from Pursuit Muay Thai, and she takes on a very skillful, slick Sarah Qua from Bioweapon, new gym. First fight under Cam and the new gym. 5x2 rounds at 47 kilos.
Yeah.
Obviously, of course, everyone would expect you to say Mads, of course. I think this fight comes down to a couple of things, besides experience from Sarah. Mad's been very busy this year, 3 or 4 fights this year. Sarah not fought since August last year against, how do you say her name? Ilfrey from, a Filipino girl who's actually become a bit of a little star on one penny now on Friday night. She's actually done very well for herself, always smiling, always happy. That was a great fight with her and Sarah. So Sarah not fought for a while, but more experienced. How do you see it?
Oh, one-eyed.
Of course,
serious?
yeah.
No. Look, it's tough at that weight division for the girls.
Matchups, yeah.
You know, you're gonna go through fits and starts where there might be a handful of people across the country. Then you get nothing. Do you know what I mean?
Fighting the same people in the same city.
And then all of a sudden you go, oh right, well I've probably got to take a fight. 3 kilos heavy.
Yep. Well, Mads has done that.
Just to make this work. So, it will be a really good test for Mads. Like, the positive about it is, she'll get. I don't think she can really lose. Do you know what I mean? If she's beaten by somebody at Sarah's level, there's no shame in that.
Yeah, no shame at all.
Because
point.
of her experience and her time in the game.
Yes.
But if she gets a win, she really leapfrogs herself.
Yeah.
Puts herself in a good position.
So Maddie now, 9? Is she 8 wins, 1 draw?
Yes, correct.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think Sarah's 12 or 13 bouts. So,
it's
that
interesting,
experience.
isn't it? Like, it can take you 2 years to get to that, or even with the girls, it can take you 5 years.
Yes, that's right.
I mean? It's
Maddie's
really
been busy. Well, Sarah in the media day earlier today in the interview said when she first saw Maddie, it's a shame that they probably wouldn't get to fight. Because I suppose Sarah back then was probably on 8 or 9 bouts 2 years ago, and Maddie having her first, and then next thing you know, 2 years later, Maddie's on 9, almost 10 bouts, and they're fighting. So great from Sarah to recognise that. And of course, Maddie only fought last week over on Roots. So 3 weeks between bouts. I watched that fight. I was a bit worried, I've got to be honest. Didn't want a knockout or an injury or something. So Maddie's pulled up very well. And this is the only female fight on the pro card. We've got a few on the amateur card. And, what a pro fight it is. Yeah,
I think it's good. It's great for the girls.
Great for the girls.
Really strong female sort of thing over here in Perth at the minute. So
they're very strong. Sarah, silky smooth, very skillful. Maddie, really strong in the clinch, Adam. Done a good job there, mate.
No.
In coaching, and she's obviously learned it well herself and taken herself next level. But her clinch game is really strong.
Yeah.
Don't think we're saying anything out of school here. Everyone knows Maddie can clinch. So it'd be interesting to see how Sarah not only counteracts Maddie in that way, but also in the new gym, perhaps a bit of a new style. She alluded to a couple of new tricks that she'll show on the night.
Yeah, so it's that, and that it's that old versus new. So you just wonder where where she's going to sit. Sarah, does she totally embrace the new thing or fight the way she's done?
Does that creep in?
Does Cameron just polish up a few areas, or is it a whole new game plan?
Yes.
So it'll be an interesting one to watch.
And does the old style creep into the new style, and then all of a sudden it's not quite interesting. And for Maddie as well, Maddie's got to stick to your game plan, obviously, and not be thrown off by that. One day she might, yes.
We'll see if she can do it before she has to fight 15.
She did say she would this time, didn't she?
Mate, she's just a law to herself.
She gets in the ring and just goes hard at it. Most things go out the window.
Yeah. Well, no,
she's winning.
She's winning.
She hasn't lost a fight, mate, in 8 or 9 bouts. So Maddie's done a really, really good job in the last couple of years. Credit to all of you. Okay, let's get on to the next bout. I'm actually really excited about this next bout. Interstate bout, WA versus South Australia. And pick a winner for this one. Good luck. Like I said, no particular order. Matt Dazelle, again, one of your fighters from Pursuit Muay Thai, versus Anthony the Sniper Gilbert from Adelaide, South Australia. No stranger to coming to Perth now. He's been to Perth a few times. beat Nathan Hamilton on his last visit, which was an amazing performance to beat someone so hardcore as Nathan. But depending which Matty we get, he can have that same kind of style as well.
Yeah.
Depends what your game plan's going to be. What's your thoughts on this one?
Good match. So, well done, Darius. It's a really interesting one because they both fought some of the similar sort of opponents.
Well, Matt's lost to Nathan a couple of times. Anthony's just beaten him.
A draw and a loss, and
so you look at it on paper, you go, oh, but you just can't look at that because we know where Matt's strengths and sometimes his weaknesses can be. Whether he avoids trying to, I suppose, fall into some of his weaknesses. He showed against Luke Desuni last year. Or what show was it? Might have been the September show. He showed some really good IQ.
Well, he's starting to learn. Matt's really matured as a fighter. You know, he's probably realising that maybe I shouldn't get my eyebrows sliced off every fight.
Yeah. Banging doesn't always mean
survival. So Matt's he puts on a great show no matter what.
He does.
But he's really sort of started to click into a different sort of style now in the last handful of fights, you know, coming off a win in was up in MTL there a little while ago.
It's a good fight. So we showed he showed us how good his leg kicks are against that fight against Luke, which we know he can kick, but he didn't throw so many punches and concentrate on the kicking game. And unfortunately, that fight ended up being a draw, unfortunately for Matty, but he fought very well that night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Look, for me, Anthony, he loves his Muay Thai tricks. He's got some good tricks up his sleeve. He loves a bit of loves doing the dumps and the sweeps and all that kind of stuff. He's got some tricks himself, and the way he tackled Nathan Hamilton, that was really, really impressive. Nathan was coming at him hard, and just the way Anthony fought on the back foot, the way he kind of swiveled out the way a little bit and used used beautiful angles in that fight, able to catch Nathan coming in with those body kicks. Very impressive from Anthony. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to know what both game plans are.
Yeah, well, I'm not telling you.
Is it going the distance, Adam?
Yes.
Okay, good answer. All right, we'll get to the next bout. Emmanuel, how do you say his surname? Basilot from West Australian Thai Boxing Centre, coached by Peter Boyd. Great to have these boys back fighting on WA shows against the ever-talented and very strong Jackson Miller from GTG. Now, Manny is Jackson's only loss up in Darwin. So this is a redemption or the rematch that Jackson would love to get back, obviously. Manny only fought, I reckon, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks ago. He won that bout. Jackson's fighting tonight in Albany as the main event versus Noah Combs from Monsters. Both these boys very strong. This is 67 kilos, 5x3. We know how good Manny is. He was a prospect, big name back in the day. Had a bit of a break, he's come back bigger than ever. And Jackson, I think he's had 9 or 10 bouts. 1 loss. Yeah. Great fight. Yeah. How do you see this one?
Well, look, I mean, so this is I'll make a couple of comments here, but obviously I can't really talk too much about it. I had Maddie fight in Melbourne last week, 3 weeks before a fight over here.
Yes.
Motivations around that is 47 kilo girls are few and far between. You take the opportunities you can at that weight. Knockouts few and far between too. I would have really loved to have seen this fight happen without the potential of Jackson being banged up from a fight 2 weeks before.
Yeah, look, that's a concern for me.
Yeah, I just feel...
67 kilos, both boys hit hard.
Yeah, I'd feel for Jackson to not be able to fully redeem himself if he doesn't come in at 100%.
Yep.
And I just don't think that's...
Yep. Oh, look, I agree.
And for that reason, I probably think Manny would take the chocolate.
Okay. Look...
And he's on a tear, Manny.
Yep. A lot of fighters bring in injuries though from previous fights and camps. A lot of fighters.
If you're not limping over onto the fucking scales, you haven't done your camp properly.
That's right. A lot of fighters are bringing in injuries, but yes, look, I hear you.
5-3 is 2 weeks before. If you don't come out with at least a sore pinky, you know what I mean? Like it's just,
Jackson's very durable.
Oh, he's mate. Nothing. I've got nothing to take away from.
Oh no, I know you're not. But I'm just. I suppose I'm trying to give a bit of balance here. Jackson's young, he's very tough, strong bull, and very durable. So look, I can't see that hopefully not being too much of an issue, but it's always in the back of our mind, isn't it? As promoters and matchmakers, we certainly don't want anything to kind of happen there where the fight's in jeopardy. Look, he'll have a couple of weeks. He'll probably taper down this week and not do too much in the gym next week, and then the following week they'll prepare. And Jackson's got to be at his best to beat Manny, and I reckon Manny's got to be at his best to beat Jackson.
100%. Totally agree with that. I reckon this is a cracker fight. It's a sleeper on the card. I think it could be one of the best of the night.
Could be fight of the night, in my opinion. Yeah. Yes, exactly right. I agree with that one.
But if you'd had an extra 2 weeks and
Dick
wasn't going to kick 19 elbows and 3 knees tonight.
Yes. Well, let's get a message to Noah Coombs to say, don't let him kick your elbows or your knees tonight.
Coming too late to apply for shin pads for that fight?
Yeah, they should wear pads. All right, so that is a really cracking fight. That's one of the fights I'm really looking forward to. We will move on to the state title. James Gifford from Riddlers. Now, this was originally matched versus Liam Gerrans from Kick-Ass. Unfortunately, Liam has pulled out with some really bad injuries, to be honest, so he's just not able to fight. And in steps on 2.5 weeks' notice. Soy Muay Thai, Carl Bugley are coming to the party for us. Reece Corrigan stepping up.
Yeah.
Current WBC champion at this same lightweight division.
Yeah.
And so, a tough fight. And for James, also a very tough fight because he's been preparing for one style. Riddler would know Liam quite well because Liam was at the Riddler's gym before he moved to Kick-Ass, so they know him. So they would have had one method of the fight and how they see it going. And all of a sudden now they're fighting Reece, who's very strong, very tall, very big for that weight division. And coming off a great fight, great performance against Prabsawek only a little while ago was Reece, and I think that really got a lot of people's attention. He did beat Gabriel Monquillo for the WBC title before that, so no surprise that Reece is up and about in that weight division. And James, more experience, fought in Thailand. They lived in Thailand, he and Danny, last year for almost a year. He had 6 bouts over there, 3 wins, 3 losses, which I think is a commendable result or effort from Thailand, because you don't know how good the person is that you're fighting. 300 fights or 30, you really don't know until the night. So, let's not just say it's a tough fight for Reece on 2.5 weeks' notice. This is a tough fight for James. Unprepared for this kind of size fighter. Current champion himself is Reece. So, how do you see that one, technically wise?
Again, difficult fight to pick. I've got to say, it's bloody Gerrans. He could be the unluckiest bloke in WA around this state title fight. Obviously missed Jay Fletcher missing weight on our previous show, so that fight didn't go ahead. The title then.
Only a few months ago.
This was supposed to be the,
redemption title fight for him.
Yeah, and that's sort of fallen through this time.
Yeah, they'll be pretty keen for November, I reckon. So we'll get it happening for him.
But it's a solid match. So is it going to be bit of experience from Gifford with some more time under his belt for the camp?
Yep.
Or is this kid going to come in hot and hungry and just take it away?
Well, they've taken it as a 5x3.
Yeah.
Now, if they didn't have confidence in their training and their fitness, they would have asked for 3x3, and we would have matched it at 3x3. So, really, really interesting. They've said, we'll take it at 5x3. And in fact, we're actually trying to make it for the WMC state title. So we put the application in this weekend. We're just waiting for approval. So, folks, it's not approved just yet. There's a little ways to go.
How do you get it approved? What's the story?
So
who do we got to pay?
Well, look, call me biased. We got to pay. This is the best thing about MTA and the system, and the best thing about having a board, not just a WA board, but a national board. We have, for those that don't know, we have a titles committee, which is us board members, and obviously when it's an Empire, I sit out and I can't vote on this one, and Riddler's the president. So if it's one of his fighters, Riddler has to bow out. He can't have a vote on this one either. So we do a really good system. There's paperwork I have to fill out, and of course we look at the records, and we have to look at the last 5 bouts. The last 5 bouts, you have to have won 3 out of your last 5 fights. But there's also a bit of a pinch of salt as well. If your last 5 fights have been against killers, and you've won, and you've been in Thailand or whatever, and you've won 2 out of 5, but here's the 3 or 4 losses you had against these guys, but your record overall is very good, it can still be looked at. So Look, I'm without putting any pressure on. I would look at Reese and go, well, he's a WBC state champion for the same division. You know, I can't see it not getting approved. But if it doesn't get approved, then that's how it works. That's the title committee, and we don't complain. We get on and look at what we can match for the next show, state title wise. Sure. We'll move on, shall we? This is an interesting one. We have another young gun coming from Sway Muay Thai, Freddie Sadler. Now, Freddie's he's around about the 10 bouts. I think he's won most of them. He's up against your boy, Dom, from Mandurah, Pursuit. Dom, obviously 40 years of age now. He's an experienced fighter back in the day. Hasn't fought for some time, 40 years of age. How's he going, mate? Is he training?
Oh, yeah, look, he's training. Dom, I love him to bits, but my mind boggles being the same age as him, thinking about rolling through a bloody fight camp.
Yep.
I mean,
hard work.
Yeah. So
he wanted to fight, didn't he?
It's
asked for a fight.
It's in the blood, you know. It's going nowhere soon. So we'll try and it's a difficult one.
Freddie's big
for me because he's come to the gym. He's been with us for maybe 8 or 9 months. So he's not fought here. He's
first fight WA.
He's been fighting on the islands later in his career.
Yeah.
So it's a
hard one to know.
It's hard enough for me to match it, let alone for Carl to take it, because it's just so unknown.
Yeah, it's like look, and Carl knows that.
But yeah, so we've we've obviously been training hard with the fight team and all that sort of stuff. So
well, I'm glad to hear he's training hard.
That's
the first step, I think, for a 40-year-old Thai coach to get him training. I think that's. I do see him running a lot. He posts a lot of his runs. That's a good start.
Like a Kenyan, let alone a Thai.
Yeah, he'd have some good base fitness.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
Well, this bout's a 3x3 rounds, as you'd expect, and 78 kilos. So fair to say, 78 probably wasn't Dom's fight weight in the peak of his career. Or not
more 72.
Okay, right, so not too far off. But Freddie Sadler, he's won most of his bouts. He's chiseled. He's big. He's a Greek Adonis-looking fella.
Yeah, right.
Big guys. A bit like yourself, yeah. Be really interesting. Young, youthful, great record. Yes, only 10 fights. But he's going to come in strong, Adam. You don't need me to tell you, but they're going to come in prepared.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to come in ready to want to win. So there's no easy fights, there for Dom. So he's got to put the work in his camp.
Yeah.
How do you see it going?
Look, this one is hard to pick. I'm in two. I'm a little bit torn. It's the young buck versus the old bull.
Yep.
And
which version of the old bull?
Is it going to be the IQ that gets through, or is it going to be the brute strength and some fresh legs?
Yep.
So until we get through that first round, I think we're going to figure it out pretty quick.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, that's a really good fight, folks, and I'm really looking forward to see the old versus the new. Get the cash out, mate. Okay, we'll move on. Next bout, we've got Nid Sipowit from KSOC as one of our semi-main events versus Samarat from Fightworks over in Wollongong, New South Wales. We've got 3 fighters coming from Fightworks, which is great. 57 kilos, 3x3 rounds. We know a fair bit about Nid, don't we?
Yes. Not
too much about Samarat, but he's had a lot more fights than Nid. Crafty Thai, 57 kilos, can actually fight 54 to 55. So I reckon he might be a little bit smaller than Nid, which is saying something.
Yeah.
It's really hard to know, isn't it? Two experienced Thais against each other.
Yeah. Well, all I know about this match is apparently Nid's getting his hair permed.
Matty did say something like that.
That is legitimate. That must be a thing in Thailand. Is there a thing with the hair perm?
Not sure.
I don't think it's traditional.
No.
But so I'm going to go.
Probably more Mads in his ear, mate.
With the man with the better do on the night. But no, look, this will be a skillful match. This one.
Yep.
Yeah.
This will be for the Muay Thai purist folks, for the connoisseurs. This will be a really good, 57 kilo weight division as well, a bit smaller.
Yeah.
I expect some fast, skillful action.
Yeah.
Not going to pick a winner on this one because you just don't know what you're going to get. No, I don't know what you're going to get. No, don't know. Looking forward to a really good 3-round fight though. Okay, that's been a few fights. This next one's very interesting. Reggie Russell from Lana Muay Thai versus Zach Monahan from Monahan Martial Arts or Muay Thai up in Broome. Now Zach's had a few fights. He's 20 odd bouts. We haven't seen him fight in Perth before. I believe he's had his 2 stints over in New Zealand and over east. Way more experience than Reggie. Zach, a bit older than Reggie, and talk about young, strong bulls. Reggie Russell, he is a young, strong bull. I believe he's undefeated. Might have had 1 loss, but I think he's undefeated, and just strong and stops people. So this fight, very interesting. I haven't seen Zach Monahan fight. I've obviously spoken to him, looked at his record. Reggie, I believe, is just under around the 10 bouts. So Zach's got over double the amount of experience. But I've seen Reggie, and I know he comes to fight.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think this one, for me, there is a bit of risk. Like if I, as a trainer, I go, okay, well, if I'm going to fight someone from more of a country town or whatever, there's some pluses in it. And the reason is because generally they're going to be the best at their gym.
Yes.
There's going to be a limited amount of sparring partners.
Yep, he's the coach.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
sparring partners and Broome probably few and far between.
Yeah.
That'd be a fair comment.
So there's that sort of stuff. And then, you peel into the style. Were they kickboxing, were they Muay Thai, and I don't know enough about that now
New
to
Zealand
make
obviously
call.
we know is heavily focused on the kickboxing style more than Muay Thai. It's starting to swing a little bit now though, so it'd be interesting to know what his style actually is.
It is tough to get that depth of opponent, depth of people in the club. I mean, to sparring partners and to complement your training.
What's your sparring been like?
Yeah, and the time between setting up his new gym in Broome and last fight and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But yeah, he's tough.
Well, I know Reggie will come out on all cylinders. He won't be coming to muck around.
Yeah.
He'll come out fit as a fiddle. He himself will look like a Greek Adonis, another one. And he's just hard at it. So really interesting fight. I reckon Zach might have the height on Reggie. Right. Zach's quite tall and lean. Zach looks like he's got those long limbs, those long Muay Thai limbs. It's different body shape, not as muscular as Reggie, but long limbs. So it'll be interesting to see if he knows how to use those limbs to his advantage, isn't it? All right, we'll move on. This next bout, we've got Luke DeCerny from Riddler's Gym. And he's fighting Zayed Zelini. This is a really interesting bout. Zayed, of course, new to bioweapon. Eugene at Boom's gym closed the gym down. So Zayed's found a new home and gone to bioweapon. And also dropped in weight. I mean, I've matched Zayed over the years. I mean, I had a period there I was matching him at 67 kilos. And then it was, 65, 66. And now, taking about it, coming down a division of 63.5. This is a really good move, I think, for Zayed, this lighter weight. Will he have a strength advantage? And fighting Luke, we know how busy Luke DeCerny's been. He's only a 19-year-old kid, Luke. Yeah. He's a young boy, really, isn't he? Yeah. And Zayed's more of a man, older guy, probably more that more, I suppose, manly core strength, if that makes any sense. But Luke, he was a junior champion, and we've seen him fight. He's fought Matty Dazelle twice. He's just silky smooth, full of skills himself, and he's hard at it as well. Yeah. How do you see this one?
Again, look, I think so. Zayed fought pretty well up at the higher divisions. Would you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Some skills.
Great fighter, Zayed.
And he's trimmed up, so it's going to be interesting. He's used to taking some hits from some heavier fellas.
That's right.
So coming down the weight, leaning up, are the shots from Luke gonna phase him?
Yep.
He's been there with some men.
And can his smaller body frame absorb those shots as much?
Yeah. And Luke's obviously been on a tear, winning well, starting to piece them together.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, really interesting dynamic to this fight. Will, again, a little bit like with Sarah moving over to bioweapon, is it a full, bumper to bumper change of their style and approach?
Yep.
All new parts bolted on, or is it just polishing up some of the areas which need some attention? And the thing with, so what are we talking round wise?
This is 3x3 rounds.
Yeah, so you'd sort of question over the 5 rounds.
You would,
because
I agree.
If you're trying to implement a new style, so you've got a new kid from your gym who's come to your gym from somewhere else, you're trying to implement a style.
Lose the weight.
As soon as it gets into deep waters, in around 3-4, whatever you've really been trying to input into this kid goes out the window, and they default back to factory settings.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Good way. That's a very good analysis. You should commentate on fights more often, mate. That's perfect.
Really, mate, thank you for that.
No, it's a good way of looking at it. Once you get into that deep zone, plans go out the window, don't they?
Yeah. Everyone's got a plan until they're punched in the face.
Punch the face, yes,
Mike Tyson said.
It's an interesting one. Cam was really confident in Zayed's ability, and really was not fussy at all, didn't care who they were fighting, just wanted a hard, good fight. And I like that in Cam. There's something there that we don't know perhaps. Is there a new Zayed Zellini coming out? Does there even need to be a new Zayed? Is it just a bit of polishing here and there? But he's going to have to be at his best, because Luke Discerni, 19-year-old kid, busy fighter, fit as a fiddle, winning all his fights. It's a hard fight.
Yeah.
Good fight, great bout. Looking forward to this one.
Who matched that?
I did.
Well done, mate.
All right, next one. This is the last one to cover. We have got 2 more bouts, folks, that we're waiting on. But, of course, we'll wait to see how the Albany show goes over this weekend to see whether they're going to stick. So, at the moment, there's 10 pro bouts. We've got 15 amateur bouts. So, 25 bouts, that's enough. But we are hoping to get the 2 more pros. So, that'll take us to 12 pro bouts. So, we'll leave those 2 off and just discuss this last one, number 10. Shaq Sarley from Monsters versus Jordan Henry from Fireworks, one of those Wollongong fighters coming across. And this bout's at 61 kilos and 3x3 rounds. Shaq's, he fought Jay Fletcher on our show for the state WMC title back in November. I'm not sure if he's fought this year. I don't think he has. Might have had one. I'm not sure how busy Jordan Henry has been lately, but their records are very similar. Both boys, Shaq Sarley is 8 wins and 2 losses, and Jordan Henry's around the 6 or 7 win mark with only 1 or 2 losses himself. So they stack up pretty well on paper.
Yeah, no, cracking matchup again. Shaq, I've got to support the WA boy. I'm as one-eyed as they come. If they're not fighting my boys, I'm supporting WA. Or girls, I should say. Yeah. But no, it would be a cracking match. I think Shaq would have taken a lot out of that loss to Jay.
You'll learn more from that than an easy win.
Yep.
Out of a no name.
So it'll be interesting to see if he's comes back and throws down like we know he can.
He definitely can throw down. But what I liked about Shaq's loss to Jay was that when he was down and losing, the way he dug deep and come back and was really putting it to Jay in the later rounds. He didn't roll over and fold over and go, well, I've lost this, it's all over. He really dug deep to try to steal it back. So that really impressed me. Look, in those deep waters, he dug deep. So we know he's a blur, we know he's got really good skill and he's got good heart and he's got a fast pace, very fit. So we know he's got all that. Jordan Henry, I have to be honest, I don't know a lot about Jordan, but I look at his record and, the New South Wales amateur pro scene now is just going through the roof. Yeah. So if he can have that kind of record over there, that tells me it's a pretty even match, especially on paper. Going to be a really good bout. Like I said, over the 3 rounds, the lightweight boys. Very interesting bout. Be interesting to see if Shaq wins, whether he's back in the mix for that state title after losing his state title shot back in November. And I'm sure that's going to be in the front of their minds between him and James. So really good bout. All right, well, that's the end of the 10 pro bouts. We'll just touch on one amateur bout, and that's coming over to Dan Skinner from DC Combat. So he's going to be the main event, and he is fighting Reed Collins from Kick-Ass Gym. Reed's a big, strong, tough boy. Dan Skinner was his second fight in 16 years. He had his comeback. This will be the main event of the amateur card. Dan, big boy himself, both big boys. This bout, I think we put this back up to 85 or 86 kilos. Interestingly, this is over 5x2 rounds, Adam.
Right. Good match. I think Reed's 3-2 and Dan's a little bit touched.
I think he's 4 now or 5 wins. Yeah. But I suppose over that 16-year period, which how did his body pull up after his last bout? He's not a young man for a fighter anymore. So
I think this is a step up for Reed. But again, at that weight division, you kind of sometimes have to. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You got to play with the weight. You got to play with it.
You do.
Depending on how hot the division is, you'll see it go through cycles. We got a 66, 67 kilo division here in Perth, and 63.5 is just absolutely balling at the moment. And then, 72's dead. It sort of goes through those cycles.
We had 72.5. We had the Luke Sayers and
that's gone.
Riley Nassers. We had a few of those good strong boys back not too long ago.
And now it's the same with the 49 kilo girls. We're seeing 49, 51, 52 kilos. Those are sort of back in vogue. So 85, I'm not sure what's really. I think you might even have 3 blokes in the state at the moment at that level.
Yeah, there's Josh Milici from Riddlers. There's the boy that Dan fought in the last show.
Vincey, my boy.
Yeah, there's a few out there actually. Yeah, there is a few, but at what level? We know Kick-Ass are on an absolute tear at the moment. They are winning against all the big name gyms in Perth. Oliver has got his boys up, up and humming. Some really good form coming out of that gym. And like I said, Reed is not small. Dan Skinner's a big guy, but he's not small himself.
Reed's got that ranger strength, Is
that what you call it?
Redhead strength.
Right. Okay. I'll leave that one alone.
Ranger? It's not offensive, is it?
No, it's not offensive. He might slightly be redhead. Yeah. Well, redheads are back in the old days. They're all called Bluey because they all fought.
Is that right? There you go.
My uncle was a redhead. His nickname was
Your
Blue.
uncle was a redhead.
On my dad, my Australian side of the family. You don't see many Indian redheads on the other side of the family. On my
redhead with the best tan you've ever seen.
Yes, but yes, look, Reed's he's strong, mate. He's strong, and I reckon this is a harder fight for Dan than his last fight. He fought the boy from Base MMA. He's also an MMA fighter and also a wrestler, not purely just a Muay Thai fighter. He's got that now in Dan, hasn't he? He's got a Muay Thai fighter. So this is going to be interesting. Both big, strong boys, and great fight to end the amateur card.
What I really love about Dan's fights is his, and maybe I'm wrong with this, his wife or partner.
Yes.
Mate, I've never seen so much passion.
She is so passionate. Well, if you remember,
it's amazing to watch.
We kind of noticed her standing at the back a bit, so we grabbed her and said, "Come on, come and sit.
Yeah,
come and sit here ringside. You can get
yeah.
nice and close."
Yeah.
I think we literally put her right in the corner.
I didn't know who to watch. It was the fight or her. She was.
I think we got some video footage of her, didn't we? We put it on a reel just for Dan's fight because she was so passionate and really, really cheering for her man.
Great family.
Yep, really good. So look, that's a really good amateur fight. There's another 14 amateur fights, guys. So we're going to have anywhere at this stage from 25 to 27 bouts throughout the day. The good news is for everyone, due to the noise and residential area, the noise restrictions, we have to be finished by 10:30. So it's not going to be a midnight, late night show. We will be finished by 10:30, perhaps even a little bit earlier. But of course, that means an earlier start time. But I'm sure people, officials, staff will be happy to hear that we will be closing up by 10:30 that night. So yeah.
Which is good for all the Muay Thai public who are on house arrest and curfews.
Take the bands off their ankles. So look, that's some good news in that aspect. But look, we're really looking forward to this show. Thank you to everyone for their support. We've got a heap of sponsors on board, which we'll get through more on the night. Anything you want to finish off with, Adam?
I reckon you've covered it.
Come on, mate, give us something.
Big props to our director, Robbie Mars.
Yes, good call.
Absolute prick to work for, but he does good.
We've got 1, 2, 3 cameras, all the lights, we've got the microphones, very professional.
You look like we know what we're doing.
Yeah, big thank you to Robbie, and let's go hard the next 2 weeks. Let's put on a good show. Big
lights, big fights. What's our tagline again?
The tagline is, I know it. You.
My wife came up with this.
Big hits. Bright lights. This is Empire.
Buy your tickets.
There you go. Thank you to Rochelle. Get online to grab the tickets, guys. Everything's going really well. We're going to have a packed house, guys. Can't wait. Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.